Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Kids. So today we're going to be talking about the canvas and what actually it entails about drawing using P5JS. So I'm going to go on and play this piece here so that we can kind of take a look at a canvas. Now, a canvas itself is kind of what we're going to be drawing on. So again, think about this as taking your paintbrush and actually drawing in this space here. Now, the couple things that we need to think about, okay, is when we actually draw on a computer screen, okay, we're going to be using something called pixels, okay? So each little dot on the screen, when you look really closely at them, is a pixel. Now, each pixel is going to be positioned on a grid, okay? And it's going to be defined by coordinates. And so maybe, let's think about this as maybe you are using a piece of graph paper. So maybe let me pull up some graph paper here. And so with this graph paper, okay, we have X and Y axes. So let me maybe pick something here if we're used to it. And let's see what we can do. Here, so, all right, so normally we would have, and you know what, let me undo that and let me take this back. Usually we'd have something kind of like this. Okay, those of you that have maybe taken some basic geometry, right? So we have an X and a Y axis. Now, the thing is that when we are dealing with some P5JS at least, okay, and when we're talking about the canvas, things are a little bit different, okay? So let's say that this here is our canvas, and again, I'm not an artist by any means, but this is our canvas. Now, this way is the x-axis, and this way is the y-axis, okay? It's slightly inverted. So if we have a canvas that is 200 by 200, let's say, okay, then this point up here, okay, is going to be, and this is in the uppermost upper left corner, so this is 0, 0. Okay, now this point here, okay, would be something like 200 by 0. Now this is, so those of you that aren't familiar with the coordinate system, so this would be x, this is y, so this is x, this is y. So then if we have a position down here, okay, this would be 200 by 200. And then here would be 0 by 200. Okay, and so that gives us our nice canvas type setup. Now, if, for example, if we have this 200 by 200 setup and we want a point, let's say, right here in the center, then we would have a position up here and a position right here, and these would probably be about 100 by 100. And if we wanted this to be just a, let's say, a dot, we would use something in P5JS called a point. Okay, and we would put this at something like 100, 100. Okay, so let's actually go on and go to our canvas and actually make out this exact thing in P5JS. Okay, so let's go back over here. And so here we saw that in our example we did 200 by 200, right? So then we have this nice little square here. Let's keep our background, let's maybe make it a little bit lighter or a little bit darker. It's white. Yeah, maybe we'll do white since it's nice and it'll be a little bit brighter for you guys. And then let's go on and put in a point. And again, we said at 100 by 100. Now, That's very hard to see, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And you can see that now we have a singular dot on the screen. Whoops. Okay, and that singular dot is at our point 100 by 100. Again, that is the very center. Okay, now again, we don't have anything that does some nice like our graph paper does, but again, we can see here that that is what that little dot is. So let's go on then and maybe talk about some basic shapes. Okay, so again, we've had this point before, and in our first example last week, okay, we had just doing some basic shapes like a rectangle, a square, circle, oval, ellipse. Okay, now we can also do all other kinds of examples. Okay, and let me go on and maybe pull up some graph paper again. And we'll actually talk about each of these in turn. So one thing that we can do, again, we've done the point, okay? So point, and I want to use black here. So we used point, okay? And that just takes some x and y values, okay? So if we have our canvas here, right? Then it would just be a singular dot. Now, if we do the next one, so let's do a line, okay? And that takes a couple different points, okay? That takes an x1, and I want to do it a little bit differently. Okay, that also takes a y1, it takes an x2, and a y2. Okay, and that will create, and you know what, I'm just going to assume that this is all on a canvas. And so that would be a point here, and maybe a point here, and then it would draw a line between the two. Okay, and so here this would be x1, y1, and x2, y2. Okay, and let's go on and maybe make a line example with that. So let's go on back to our main screen here, and let's I'm going to comment that out here for the point, and I'm going to make a line, and let's make this from 50, 40 to 100, let's say 150. Okay, and so here you see now we have a nice line going from our points x1, y1, x2, y2. So then we also have another example, and let's go on back, and again I'm going to be doing this back and forth a little bit so that we can have several different examples with us. So let's also now do here, how about a triangle? Okay, and that triangle is going to take 3 points, okay? So x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3. Okay, and so then we would have in here 1, 2, 3 points, which we would have lines coming between them. Something like that. And it would be x1, y1, x2, y2, and x3, y3. Okay, and they are all attached to one another. So let's go on and make a nice example of a triangle now. So let's go on back, and let's look at making just a singular triangle. Pull this back up here, and we will go on and maybe use part of, you know what, no, I want to keep my examples consistent. So triangle, and we want 50 by 50, let's say 100 by 100, and let's see, because again, you can see here that there's a singular line here, and let's make this other one maybe up here somewhere, so something like 100 by 50. Why not? Okay, so now we have a nice little right triangle here, giving us our three distinct pairings, okay, or points. So the next one that we're going to want to do is to go on, and we can make in here we can make a quadrilateral. Okay, so if we want to make a quadrilateral, okay, let me grab another piece here, and a quadrilateral. So we use the quad function, and as you've hopefully suspected, okay, remember tri means 3, quad means 4. We are going to pick 4 separate x and y pairings, okay? So we have x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3, x4, y4. Now, the best part about this, okay, with a rectangle, we would wind up having something in a kind of all right sides. Now this, we can have something like one here, one here, one here, one here, and then it would be something like this. Okay, and it's a great way to be able to make all different types of polygons and octagons and those types of things as well. And we'll be using these also to make some mathematical type examples later on as well when we start playing with these a little bit more. We'll go on and we'll also make another example of this as well. So let's come back over, and we have our triangle example. And so let's go on and do a quadrilateral example, a quad. And here, what would we like to do? Let's do something like, let's do 150 by 50 by 199. It'll be at the very end. By 10 by, let's say, 180 by 100. Will that do? Wound up being more of a let's see, 1, 2, 3, and you know what? Let's change this up just a bit. Let's maybe make this 50, and this 190. Do I have too many? Oh, comment in there. Okay, so now we can actually see that we have this example of a quadrilateral. Okay, and again, it's a little wonky again because I wasn't really paying attention to where I wanted to put it. I probably should have put it somewhere in the center. But again, you can see that we can make these kind of funky angles in there, regardless of what we're wanting to make. The next one is going to be relatively simple, and that is going on and making a rectangle. Okay, and so with a rectangle, we have something pretty interesting and easy. So we just do this rect, and then we have an X and a Y, okay? And then we have a width and a height, okay, or height. So this X and Y, so let me go on and just make the rectangle really quickly. because this is a little bit different than what we've done before. So you first have your x and y's here, x and y. And then you have your width, which is from here to here. And then you have your height, which is from here to here. Okay, so then those are what you actually need in order to give yourself a little bit of a nice rectangle or a square. So let's go on and make that example really quickly. So, whoops, went and zoomed in a little much there. So what we want then is to do a rectangle, and let's say that we want that starting point to be at, I don't know, 20 by 20. And we want it to be a 100 by 50. Okay, so now we have a nice rectangle, as we can see here. And again, we have our point here that's going to be at, oh, and let me maybe zoom in a little bit here. All right, our point here would be at 2020. Our length would be 100. Our height in this instance would be 50. Okay, so now let's go on and do our ellipse. Okay, and an ellipse is a little bit interesting in the way that P5JS runs this. Let me go on and do this. And I don't think I'm very good at drawing a circle, but I'm going to try my best. So what we'll do here is we'll say ellipse. Okay, now an ellipse, again, I say a circle, okay, but it's an ellipse. X, Y, width, height. Now I'm going to go on and make a circle here. Oh, okay, it does an automatic circle. Now this is kind of nice, this example here. Okay, so we have in here, now I'm going to do something. I'm going to grab it, and I think I can, I'm going to maybe shrink it a little bit so I have a little bit of space. Right there's fine. Okay, so the X and Y coordinates are the, oops, is the center. Now, why is it not letting me? There we go. Is the center here, okay? So that's the X and the Y. Now, the next ones are our width and height. So our width is here, and our height is here. So this is a little bit different. So you always need to think about your center. We usually would call this like a centroid. Okay, and so that's where you need to put that. And so I'm going to go on and put that up. So let's go on and make a circle, or well, in this instance, we can also make ellipse. So I'm going to actually just put this in the middle, so 100 by 100, and I'm going to do it by 50 by 50 for now, so we can see a circle. Now let's change this to make this 150. Okay, so notice that height changes and it makes it into an oval or an ellipse. If we change that back and we change this to 100, notice now we have this kind of a long, horizontally long ellipse. Now these are going to be very fun to use in the future, okay, because later on maybe we'll have some clicking designs where you're wanting to make a mouth open or make something look like it's talking. Okay, well, we can do that by having it change the ellipse sizes so then it looks like things are talking. Now, the last one that we're going to talk about today is arcs. Now, this is where you can think about this as maybe as a Pac-Man. Okay, so I'm going to go on and have an arc. Okay, now what this is going to be, this has a little bit extra pieces that we have, okay? So it's going to have your X, your Y, your width, your height, okay, as well as a start and stop, Okay, so let me go on and make an arc. That doesn't look very good at all. Let me try it this way. Can I do a circle? All right, a circle works pretty well. Now what I need to do is to be able to erase some of that. I want a partial erase. So let me do something like this. Oh, and I need something a little bit thicker. Okay, well, that was weird. There we go. Okay, and so the next thing that we want is we'll have maybe some point in here, and we have straight line, straight line. Okay, and I'm going to make that dot a little bit bigger. So this is our X and our Y. We have our width. We have our height. Okay, and we also have our start, okay, and our stop. Okay, and I will show you this example now, okay? So let's go on back over here, and let's go on and grab a nice example of an arc, okay, and what we can maybe do with that. So let's comment, whoops, put that all back, comment that out. And here, let's do an arc, and we can do this in a bunch of different ways. So I'm going to actually do, I'm just going to do one for today. And one of the things that we usually would do is we would do this with some pi, okay? So we can do something like, let's do an arc. Whoops, I already did arc. We want 90, 60, 80, 80, 0. And I'm going to say something like pi. Okay, notice this is half an arc. Okay, so we can do pi plus half pi to get this partial arc. And you know what, maybe let's change this over to 204 for now. A little bit gray there. Now you can actually see it a little bit better, okay? It doesn't look like it's just disappearing. And we can change this again. We can change this to something like half pi, and notice we get basically a quarter of our pi. We can also, again, do, I'll go back to our pi example as well. Or again, can remove everything and it's not going to show anything, but we'll do something like quarter pi. Okay, so again, we have everything that we could maybe want, and we can even do maybe one more and do something like pi plus quarter pi. Okay, we can add in a bunch of stuff, and look, this is even just even weirder little shapes that we can do. So again, I want you guys to be able to kind of play with this and to be able to understand all the different shapes that you can make. And again, remember, later on we're going to be able to mix and match and work with all of these things. Something else that we'll look at, and we'll maybe revisit our arcs in the next video, is we're going to start talking about a little bit of working with degrees and radians and the angle mode, as well as drawing order. So if you guys like this, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.